Okay.
Okay.
So, good morning, everyone.
It's
Welcome.
like straight up in your beard. I just don't want you to be rubbing it so much.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to the Denman Homestead. And this morning, we are going to be sharing some fur baby stories.
Yes.
So, we're going to talk about Kanga Girl.
Our precious Kanga.
How old is Kanga now?
We don't know, but we
Best
guesstimate
guess.
that Kanga is around 11 or 12.
Yep. Still just as spunky as ever.
Yes.
She is a very spunky little puppy. All right, you want to talk about how we came across her?
I wouldn't say she's as spunky as ever.
Well, maybe not as spunky as ever, but she's mellowed out.
Yeah.
She is still what we call.
Oh, you got a jealous one.
Oh Lord.
Got jealous.
So Kanga is a roamer.
Yeah, Kanga's a traveler.
And if not, if you don't keep an eye on her, she will dart the second she gets a chance, and she will roam.
Yeah, but that's the beagle in her.
Okay. Luna.
Good Lord.
Okay.
She's so jealous.
She is super jealous right now.
Okay, let's talk about where Kanga's story began.
Yeah.
It's all my fault. So we were driving down Plum Grove Road.
Yeah, and this is a theme because we're going to talk about Costco next, so just keep that in mind. Go ahead.
We were driving down Plum Grove Road. We were leaving, I want to say, and I saw on the side of the road, and this was like 11 years ago or so. So just keep in mind that
everything was woods.
Everything was wooded. We didn't have as bad of a dog dumping problem back then as we do now. I mean, yes, people did dump their dogs. There were strays, but not nearly as bad as it was. So we were leaving, and something caught my eye on the side of the road, and it was 2 puppies and a Whataburger bag, and I think a Whataburger cup. And I told Buddy, I said, stop and turn around right now. And he was like, what? And I was like, turn around. So he did. He reluctantly turned around, pulled over to the side of the road, and there were these 2 tiny little beagle puppies, beagle-looking puppies, with this Whataburger bag. And it was clear that they had just been dumped and left with this food. No one around, no one in sight. And so I was like, we cannot leave these puppies here. They were scared. They didn't really want to come to me. They were kind of almost backed up into the wood line. And eventually I got them to come out, and we brought them home, fleas and all. And we put them in a crate. Kanga, so the kids came up. The kids were really into, actually it was Levi. Levi was really into Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
And so anytime the kids would go over to Nanny's, they would have Winnie the Pooh on. Well, at that time, the kids were like, let's name them Kanga and Roo. Although Roo is a boy. They were both girl puppies.
2 girl puppies, 1 Kanga, 1 Roo.
Yeah, 1 Kanga and 1 Roo.
And Roo was like, looked just like Kanga, but she was the blonde.
She had black. Or she had black and white.
Black and white, that's what it was.
She was more black and white than the traditional beagle colors, like Kanga. So Roo and Kanga both ended up being travelers, and they would travel down to RJ and Joanne's all the time, kind of back and forth. And kind of sad because that's where Kanga goes still to this day. When she travels and we can't find her, she's always over there by RJ and Joanne's.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually Roo ended up staying with RJ because RJ always wanted Kanga. RJ would always say, can we please have Kanga? Can we please keep her? And I was like, no, my kids love her. But RJ kept Roo. We kept Kanga. It was pretty sad because they went to get Rue fixed at the vet, and well, actually, back up.
Yeah,
Wait, back up.
he found the puppies.
Rue had puppies in the ditch in front of his property, but it was cold
Middle of like winter.
and they froze to death. It was around February because Kanga also got pregnant around the same time, which we did not know, by a large, because RJ had beagles, and one of his beagles got her pregnant. His name was Bo. Got both Kanga and Rue pregnant around the same time. Rue had her babies in the ditch, and they all froze to death. Well, she was engorged with milk, so he said, can we have some of Kanga's puppies for Rue so she can milk and have puppies of her own since hers died?
Kanga had puppies in my closet.
And Kanga has a really kind of a sad story as far as injuries go. She's a survivor because when she got pregnant, and I'll show you some pictures of her and her puppies here in a second, but she got pregnant and she was a good mama, but I could tell something wasn't right after she had given birth, and she kept on pushing and pushing and pushing, and finally I saw a little paw, a tiny little paw that was just stuck outside, and it wasn't moving, it wasn't coming out. She couldn't get it, so I had to take her in to the vet. And if you're kind of squeamish, you may want to just fly forward a little bit, but the puppy, when they did an x-ray, had bent in half and was already deceased inside of her. So they had to do an emergency C-section, get that dead puppy out, and they fixed her at that time, at the same time they got her fixed. She had a really rough recovery, but she recovered because she still had baby puppies at home to feed. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit of a blessing that we gave a couple puppies away to Rue, and she was left with a couple puppies of her own, so she wasn't so overwhelmed when she was recovering. But after Rue was nursing and everything, RJ went and got Rue fixed, and then she died on the table with too much anesthesia. So she didn't recover from the anesthesia. So that was really sad. So her sister died, and she has, to this day, 10 years later, always gone over there where they both were, frequently. And we don't know exactly why Kanga goes that way I don't know. I know she knows her sister's not there, obviously, but she just always likes to travel that way. And visit with Joanne now because RJ's gone. So Joanne will visit with Kanga sometimes. But yeah, that's why we have to keep Kanga on a leash or a chain when she's here in the backyard. She enjoys being outside, but if we don't chain her up, she will just roam.
And one of the times that she took off, she got
picked up.
She got picked up. She got hit by a car too.
We haven't gone to that story yet, but one of the times I couldn't find Kanga, I went to Joanne's and she wasn't there. I called her, she wasn't there. I was thinking the worst, that she got hit in the ditch. She wasn't there, and I was bawling, crying. I was so upset. I was like devastated. And
when our kids were little, they would just open the door sometimes, not thinking.
Yeah, she would just
dart. And then we'd be, 30 minutes later, we're like, where's Kanga at? And then every time, it's just like we'd hop in our vehicles, golf carts, or just going around the hill. It's almost always up at RJ's or over at the sanctuary. But yeah, so anyway,
this one time, it was getting dark, couldn't find her, because sometimes at night she would just come back. Like, oftentimes if we couldn't find her, she would just come to the back door and be ready to come home. Well, she never came home, and I was really upset. And I went on Facebook, and I just so happened to see that someone had posted her found. And they said, we found this friendly beagle puppy. She came right to me, jumped in my car. We have too many dogs, can't keep her. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my dog. And I posted a picture of her with one of our kids showing proof that this was my dog. And the next day she brought her back to me, but I was so scared.
Yeah.
And then after that, we put a shock fence, an invisible underground fence, and I made Buddy try it out. I made him put the shock collar on his leg and run through it, and that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
We tried everything to keep Kanga in. We don't have a fence. We live in the country. I mean, and she would sneak out anyway. But the invisible fence didn't last very long. I ran it over with the lawnmower, and then it broke, and so that was a bust. But even when we had it, Kanga would have her shock collar on, and she would run through it, and she'd be like, ah! And she would
Yeah.
like yelp, and then she'd keep on going. She would just
Once you make it past the fence a little bit, it stops shocking you. So
yeah.
she didn't care.
She didn't care. She ran through it. So she's a runner. But then I was pregnant with Allura, and we were coming home. She was outside in the front yard. She saw us coming, and she ran out to the street to greet us because she saw our car. And I can see it today in slow motion. We're about to turn into our driveway, and we're stopped to turn into our driveway, and a Jeep is coming down, and here comes Kanga, and I was just, stop, and this Jeep did not care. Boom, hit Kanga, kept going. I heard her yell. I heard her scream outside. I was so pregnant. Immediately, I was like, she's dead. She's dead. She's dead. She's dead. And Buddy was like, just pull in the driveway. Pull in the driveway. I was frozen. Couldn't move. He jumps out of the car. He's like, she's alive. Pull in the driveway. Pulled in the driveway. He gets a towel and wraps her up. And
I could tell something was messed up with her leg.
oh, well, she messed herself.
Yeah, but
she went
her
potty.
leg was in a weird position.
Yeah, she pottied herself. She was just, she couldn't move her back legs. And I took her to an emergency vet. They did an x-ray on her, and she had broken her pelvis, and she had some internal bleeding, and she had, they told me that if she survived the next 24 hours, she would probably pull through, but the next 24 hours would probably be really touch and go. So when I tell you I slept on the floor with this dog, and I syringe fed her yogurt, and I syringe fed her pain medicine, and I was praying to God for her to pull through, and I was talking to her. I was saying, please, Kanga, and you could just see it in her face that she was in so much pain. And the next, she survived 24 hours. Well, then she just would lay on the ground. And I remember being on the couch, folding clothes or something in the living room. And here she comes. She's like coming out of the room, and she's like slowly waddling over to the couch. And she tried to like jump up. You could tell she wanted to get on the couch with me. And it made me feel so good to see her little tail just barely wagging. So I scooped her up gently, and I put her on a pillow on the couch with me. And I knew that she would pull through by then because she had like the will, to like move and get around him. Yeah, she had blood in her urine for about a week, and her stool and everything. And she's been through it. She's definitely a 9 lives type of dog. The kids, though, she is the best dog for these kids. They put her on the blankets and pull her around on blankets on the floor. They sleep with her. When they were babies, they would tug on her ear and bite on her, and not, as babies do. Like, they're not that I would ever allow them to purposefully do that to her, but stuff happens. But she was like a Nana dog. Peter Pan, Nana dog. That's Kanga. She's just the most loving potato dog. She is. She's just like a little potato. But
that's Kanga.
Yeah, that's Kanga.
She has been through it, but she is such a sweet dog, and I mean, you would never know she's been through it now.
You would never know.
Jump up higher than she ever had before. Runs around forever. Just she's a good dog.
She loves belly rubs.
Loves belly rubs. She's in heaven right now getting all these scratches.
Yeah, she's never bitten. She's never growled at any of us. She's a great travel companion. She does really well in the RV.
She loves traveling. She sits on my shoulder.
Yeah, she does, like a parrot.
She crawls up next to me like a parrot and just puts her front 2 paws on my shoulder and watches as I'm driving in the RV. It's super cute.
Yeah, she's a good snuggler.
Okay.
She's a snorer, though. She can snore like a little...
So that's Kanga Girl, and we'll talk about Costca now.
Yeah, go get her. Look at her. She's looking at you.
Kanga, tell everyone.
Tell everyone bye.
Bye, everyone. Goodbye. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, let's go to Costco. All right, there's Costco.
Costco kitties.
Costco kitties.
She may not sit outside with us for very long because
she's not an outside
psycho.
cat. So if she gets out, she'll be gone.
Yep. We have to chase her down all the time when she does sneak out. Costco got her name from Costco, the store. Yeah, she's
back inside.
Back inside.
Back inside.
Okay, say goodbye.
Tell everyone bye.
We'll tell everyone your story inside.
Bye.
Or when you
See
go
you
back.
later, everyone. See ya.
She's pretty. She has that grumpy cat face, though. Costco was my fault.
There we go.
Okay. Man, you are...
I know.
Yikes.
I also have a cat allergy, so bringing home Costco is awesome.
Yeah. So Costco, we were the day before we had our Big Bend trip. Pretty much. The day before.
Mm-hmm. We were getting groceries for the trip, right?
I wanted to show you this fire pit I saw.
Oh, the fire pit. Sorry.
At Costco, because it was a perfect little tiny fire pit that was propane. And I was like, be perfect for the RV. Let's go.
There's so many like campsites where we're at during like fire bans where they allow you to have a propane fire, but not a wood one. So we finally got the little propane fire tank, but that's what we were going there for.
Yeah, I wanted to show it to him. And we parked, and we were walking in the parking lot to go into Costco. And I hear what I thought was like a bird or a rabbit or something. Maybe in those little like grates. I thought, those like drainage grates in the middle of parking lots. I thought something fell down and was trapped in it. Me, Buddy, and Alora were walking. I was like, everybody, shh.
Yeah.
Be quiet. And I just stood there and I listened.
It was like in military movies where Steph's in the front with the cart and we're just like walking behind her and she's like, everyone stop.
Everyone stop and be quiet.
And she had to inspect.
Yeah. My Snow White senses kicked in.
Yeah.
My princess of all the animals. Anyway, so I was like, I hear a baby. I was like, do you hear it? And they were like,
just keep walking.
But he was like, no, we don't hear anything. Just keep going. I was like, no. So we stopped and I waited and I listened and it was the tiniest cry. Tiniest, tiny cry. And I was like, there's something here. There's something here. In this vast Costco parking lot, there is something. I'm looking around. I'm getting closer to the sound. And finally I see it. And it's in this tire well of this red car. And the fuzziest, tiniest kitten, tiny, like the palm of my hand tiny, is sitting there.
Yeah, like newborn.
Sitting there in this tire well. And I'm like, what? So I go and I like get this cat and I'm holding it. And Buddy is like, not surprised. He's like,
let's find this cat's owner.
Of course. Of course, in the middle of the desert, you would find this baby cat.
Yeah.
So I'm standing here in the middle of the parking lot, looking around, so confused. Buddy's doing the same. He's looking around like, where's a mama? We were thinking maybe there would be a person out there looking for their lost cat. Nothing, no one. So what we surmised was that looking at this cat was kind of dirty, had a little bit of a cut on the bottom of her paw, that we think she traveled in someone's engine or in someone's undercarriage to Costco and fell out. Because cats do that. They tend to climb into, because it was the beginning of April, so it was still pretty cool out in the evenings. And this was a year ago, by the way. April a year ago, or March a year ago. Yeah. And so it's very possible that the kittens or cats would get into the cars to keep warm. And then they just travel, if they survive, to places and then they fall out. So that's what we kind of put together. So I'm just holding this little fuzzy ball and Laura is instantly in love. She's like, oh my God, can we keep it? I can't even tell you, living on the hill for as long as we've lived here, how many times we have tried to talk Buddy into keeping an indoor cat. We've had a couple outdoor cats, and Buddy's like, absolutely not. We're not doing indoor cats. Same thing with Costco. He was like, okay, we'll keep this cat. She's adorable. She's fuzzy. She's a baby, but she's an outdoor cat. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But she's not going to be thrown outside at this tiny, tiny stage of life. Like, we have to keep her inside until she can get big enough to survive outside. He was like, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, we take her through Costco and we get what we need to get. We get back home with this tiny furball cat. I take her to the vet, and the vet determined that she was about 4 weeks old. So she still needed her mother. So we had to give her some milk replacement. And for a while, she would nurse on the blankets and things in the house because she was weaned too quickly from her mom. So she would like nurse on blankets and suck on things that were not normal. And that's typically a sign of being taken away from your mother too soon. But she did good. She had some bowel problems at the beginning. We had to feed her some pumpkin, food with pumpkin in it to help solidify her stools and things. But all in all, she has thrived. She's so spunky.
Yeah, she is a spunky cat.
She's not an outdoor cat. She's an indoor cat. She wants to be an outdoor cat, but as soon as she gets outdoors, she's like,
she doesn't know what to do.
What is this?
And if you haven't guessed, the name Costca comes from Costco, just the girl version, because that's where we found her, in the parking lot.
Yeah, it's like the Spanish, masculine, feminine. We just say Costco to Costco.
La Costca.
La Costca.
Instead of El Costco.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the Spanish word, La Costca.
La Costa means the coast, right? La Costa?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Costco. Who
La
knows?
Costca.
Hopefully it doesn't mean anything bad. Anyway, so that's the story of Costca. She is still in her, I guess, preteen stage of life because she's a little over a year old now, and she still does that like random attack. Some cats, the older they get, they chill out. They're just like fat and lazy, and they don't want to be.
She's chilled out for sure, but she still will like randomly attack you.
Yeah, you'll just be walking by, and she'll be underneath the table. I won't even know it. She just grab onto you and want to just mess with you. And she's always messing with Luna. Luna's tail will be going, and Costco will be back. They kind of like tumble and play, and I love Costco. I think she's got a cool story. All of our pets come with stories. Like that's what we do. I think that's just the theme of us. We just have some unfortunate stories, some tragic stories.
Yeah, we figured we'd add Costco's story into this one with Kanga because she's so little. But just the start of her story is cool already.
Yeah.
Kanga's just, been around. Just had a few trips around the sun.
Yeah. All of our animals are fixed. We don't purposefully breed our animals. Anytime any animal has gotten pregnant, it's been on accident, truly. Kanga, I think, was either bred shortly before or after we got her. But all those puppies found good homes. And yeah, we try to be responsible pet adoption owners as best we can and love on those babies. We wish we could take them all in, or I do, but as I've gotten older, I've had a little bit more restraint because I have come to find out that as much as my children tell me that they will help me take care of all the animals, they do not. They were pretty convincing, in my naive years where I'm like, okay, yeah, you'll empty the litter box. Not once, never. No. So no. Now I know if we're taking on animals, we are taking on animals. But no, I think it's good for the kids though, because they have, pets to grow up with, and we have the land to provide a good home for them. So
all right.
That's their story.
That's the story of Kanga and Costca.
Yep. But Thanks for hanging out with us today on this episode, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.